Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Safe Space Between Us. I'm your host, Kieran, and welcome to our live streaming today. We have a lovely lady coming on very shortly, doing a few meditation sessions for anyone who wants to join in, and then we'll be doing a live podcast regarding her story, which is a very unique story, and it might relate to a few people out there. Just a recap on this week. So, thank you for everyone who's supported us, supported me throughout the challenges. Just a few people wondering why we're doing these challenges. So I'm not going to go right into detail for the regulars who come on and support us, but I went through a stupid time last year, lost my head, done some bad stuff. Um, Finally trying to sort my life out, and I wanted to make sure people don't go through that bad space and a dark place and not feel judged, etc. So we create a safe space between us. So we're doing a lot of challenges, not only to break the stigma and break the silence around the world, but also to fundraise for a lot of charities out there. So we've set ourselves loads of challenges up to September. 24-hour podcast on Monday, which was very good. Some amazing guests, so thank you so much. I survived it, thankfully. Yes, Sunday, blue hair. Yesterday was ice bucket challenge, and today was litter picking for me around the community. 28 bags filled up, some interesting items found and binned. And thank you to there was a gentleman who walked the dog. Thank you for helping me put the 10 bags into the big bin. And thank you to people who spotted me, took pictures, etc. And tomorrow I'll do a good deed day, so I'm offering my services to anyone who needs anything done. So in my community, anyone who needs anything done in Plumstead, Thamesmead, Woolwich, wherever you are, just let me know. I'll come and do it for free, so take advantage. We're going to try and do a few more challenges. We've got comedy night, we've got quiz nights, we're jumping out of planes. Hopefully we get this catwalk fashion walking model thing done. Climbing Mount Snowdon, and many. Oh, and a safe space between us. Talent show has been announced behind the scenes, but we haven't announced its reviews. But we'll let you know the details of that. We've had some amazing musicians, poets, and loads of other people interested to come and show their talent. So we'll be doing that. And I just want to say again, thank you to everyone who's supported this and supported us and given us the opportunity to prove that people can change and also break the stigma and break the silence. And I'll just read the comments. Good evening. Good evening. I'm not sure who's commenting. I can't see the comments, but good evening. So we have a lady coming on shortly who will be telling her story and doing some meditation stuff, which I'll be joining in. So feel free to join in. We'll also have tomorrow evening Elizabeth Kipp coming on doing yoga and some mindfulness. Very good and very interesting. So feel free to jump on that as well. But if anyone ever needs any support or any just support or talk or rant to us or anything, just please let us know, and we'll be happy to give you support and guide you and find the support. So in total, we've supported around about 196 people around the world. Weirdly, we're UK, obviously South East London, but we've managed to support much more out of UK, America, Australia, South Africa, Portugal, India, France, Spain, and many others. And a lot of things are changing behind the scenes as we grow. So we're building a really productive team. I apologise if you hear my daughter behind the scene. She just woke up. Lovely. But yeah, if anyone needs any support, please don't feel shy. I know it's hard to talk. We know it's hard to not feel judged. We don't allow judging here, so anyone who does judge gets kicked, judged. We haven't had to do that yet, so feel free to tell your story. This podcast, this platform is not about hearing my voice, so I want people to come on and talk. So feel free to come and tell your story. We've had some amazing people, and I think we should applaud those people who tell those stories. Um, it takes a lot of courage and guts, especially with people still out there judging and the stigma out there. So myself, Tessa, Omni, and Lee Roberts, new guy. Lee, hello, if you're here. And hopefully another person who I've contacted to try and get on board. And we've got a lot of things planned. So just waiting for our guest. And on that note, I'm just going to go and check my daughter because she's screaming, and I'll put you on a short advert. And we'd have auto tune. Yeah, it does sound like that as well, doesn't it? I'm on auto tune. Oh, I know what. Yeah, yeah, sorry. Can you hear me now? Hello, I've gone professional now. But yeah, so just want to say thanks again. And the 24 hours, if you haven't watched, I'm trying to create the clips, but if you haven't watched some of the inspiring people stories, we had a lot of banter, a lot of serious talk. We also really are um, passionate about disability, helping them as well, and autism, is etc. Because it's close to my heart, and close to many people's hearts. And I think we still need to do a lot of educating and a lot of breaking down those walls of stigma for those kids, etc. as well, not just us adults, for the kids out there, because there's a lot of stigma around what is autism and autistic the same, etc., etc. So if people, I'm not judging anyone, but if anyone is confused about certain things, feel free to message us or Google. There's loads of stuff on there that you can educate yourself. Because a lot of like National Autism Society are trying so hard to break those walls. They've been trying hard for years. And then you've got Alzheimer's Society. They've been trying for years, and Alzheimer's does affect many people out there. And we just need to just not judge quite much. And I'm learning. I'm still learning. I'm still getting judged out there, but I'm learning to let it go with my head and happy days. Um, and yeah, just try and do good for once. And as a society, as the world, we should all get together and try and stop waiting for the governments and councils to do things. Let's just break these barriers down together. If you haven't, again, on my reels, I've made some reels. There's some amazing, like the singer. We had Amanda on the other night. What a voice. She was so brilliant and so lovely, especially coming in at 4:30 in the morning in UK time. She was from California, suffers anxiety still now, etc. And she was brave enough to sing 3 songs for us, and have a good long chat. I think it would last about an hour. So I will put that episode out there as soon as I can. It's not at the time to edit the whole thing. We've had Raymond Phipps on. He was what a legend. With me, I go when I want to put my point across, I start, and then instead of going, there's my point straight, I'll go in and out like that, finally say my point, and a lot. So, but Raymond Phipps, he basically said exactly how it is, and he's what a legend. Lovely guy as well. We had Anna, lovely lady, talking about her relationship with her son and building that connection back with him by actually realizing it was her, not him, and doing music therapy, which she loved and he loved, and the relationship is as good as ever. And also, she's a model now. We had Tara, who has an autism daughter, daughter with autism, and talking about the stigma around that with mums in the playground, etc. We had Karine, who was lovely, and I think she got stuff out of me. It was kind of a session on me, and we had loads of people. Omni, again, who's joined us, had 2 car accidents and just deals with chronic pain, suffered a lot of bleeding, nearly died. Now she's turned it around and does a lot of support for people in that sector, like who suffered the same. We had Alison, who again suffers a lot of anxiety and stuff, gets judged because of her hairstyle. She's married, but she gets told that she looks like a man, etc. So she was talking about that. We had Lisa from South Africa, and we're quite lucky. South Africa sounds like it don't appreciate mental health at all. She's now moved to Australia. Australia sounds like it's actually better than the UK with the stigma around mental health and the support. The support's quite quick out there. Also, she works for a charity that we've been communicating with. So what we do, we communicate with these charities. So I get up during these time zones. So if someone in Australia needs support, I try and get up in those time frames and time zones and make phone calls, etc., and get the best support out there for people. Who else did we have on the show? Help me out, lads and girls, who's part of the team commenting. We had many people. Alison, we had I've lost my head now. We had loads of people. I apologise if I forgot you. It doesn't mean that you wasn't great. It's just my head is like a fish. And yes, so I think in 8 minutes' time, she'll be on and we'll be ready to go. You can stop hearing my ugly voice. But yes, anyone in my community needs any good deed done tomorrow, gardening, chopping anything down, smashing things up, having a tea or coffee because you're lonely, want to chat. Anyone want to talk about mental health? Anyone want to talk about autism? Anyone want to hear why I'm doing this? I've put tomorrow as down for me to do that. So if you want me to do anything, please message me, DM me, comment, and I'll be happy to come and come and help you. I've got 3 people down at the moment who's offered or asked for some help with some stuff. Happy to go and do that. So feel free. If not, I'll be looking again and finding some beautiful objects out there. I do my shift at work. What to do? Yes, Lee, I'll come and do your shift at work if you want. I'm happy to do that if your school allows me to do that. And we did have Lee on, Matt from Limitless Power Boxing. We had Tessa, obviously. Tessa, I forgot you. Tessa, thank you for the 24 hours dropping me off food and stuff. I'm just going to put a news on a short break because the lady has just messaged me. So, 2 seconds. And we're back. Yes, so she won't be long. And we get started. So I think we're doing the meditation session first. I can't pronounce the style of it. I'm not the cleverest. So when she comes on, she'll explain. So that's her badge in the corner here. And then we'll be doing a live story, which I'm really looking forward to. So please feel free when she telling her story. Please feel free to comment of courage or telling her well done or asking questions about the story or asking me questions, etc. Feel free. It's your safe space as well. It's not just mine. And I just want to make that clear. I believe it's not my place to say who can and can't come on here. So as long as there's no judgment, I'm happy for anyone to come on here. We have a lot of people scheduled in. We have a lot of podcasts already recorded. So a lot is happening. A lot of things are happening. We have so much stuff going on, and we would love you to be a part of it. Tessa, who is on the comments, should be messaging or putting out there regarding comedy night, roast the host on Friday. We're welcoming anyone and everyone to join in, and there's a prize for the best roast to me. Saturday quiz night, everyone's welcome. I would love to see hundreds, very unlikely, but I would love to see loads of people involved in the quiz. We're getting prizes from professionals, so something that helps with your mental health, etc. So it might not be exciting, but there's like books, like brand new books to win. There's sessions, there's yoga sessions. If you're not close to where these people are, then you can arrange it over video. There's also meditation sessions. There's also therapy sessions. There's loads, and there's also sessions like Tessa, I think, is offering her service for a day where she'll come and cook and bake for you. Lee's also offering the same. And if you live in Plymouth, I think there'll be someone else who'll be offering the same as well. So a lot of things are going on. Just to let you know, we do this voluntary. So please bear with us if we not sounding professional, if we seem a bit boring at times. We are learning as we go. And like now, just waiting for my guests, so I'm carrying and talking. And again, I would love more people to get involved, especially around my community, because people always suffer mental health. And if we can help each other locally, then it means that my children could benefit, your children could benefit for the future, etc. Because all my concern is if we don't break the stigma and break the silence soon, before my time's over, before your time's over, it's going to be more difficult for our kids to break that stigma, break the silence, and then their kids after that, etc. So it's about time that we do something about it. Mental Health Awareness Week is this week, but I believe mental health awareness should be every day, every week, should be part of our daily routine where we just check in someone. Just check in. People have checked in on me recently, the last couple of days, and people who actually don't even know me in person, like met physically, met me over the computer, and they checked on me, and I'll tell you what, it made me feel really good and feel like appreciated a little bit, and that was the first time for a long time. Also, a lovely lady called Donna checked on me a few times. I wouldn't say she's that lovely. No, I'm joking. Yeah, so amazing. Just please check in to your friends and your Facebook. Sorry, my clients have blown open. I'm not professional yet. But yeah, a lot of things are going on. Good Deed Day tomorrow. So I do encourage tomorrow, anyone, Good Deed Day, if as much as you can, just do a good deed. Just have a tea with someone, put a kettle on. If it's open the door for someone, you've opened the door, that's a good deed. You said hello, good morning to someone, that's a good deed. So just feel free to comment tomorrow, post pictures, post videos, DM me, say what you've done, and there is a prize for someone. It doesn't have to be the best good deed, but we will pick someone. I won't be picking, but someone else will be picking what one they want to give that to. So please do feel free. I always do good deeds. Who's that? Someone says they always do good deeds. If that's my colleagues on there, you're welcome to jump on for a second and join and talk to me, because talking to myself a lot, like to the screen, is very plays with my anxiety. But no, I appreciate the support. And again, I just want to say before the guest comes on any second, any minute, and I know I sound like a broken record. Let's just try and be better people in life. I've been an idiot in the past. I've done stupid shit. Sorry, Brent. Done stupid stuff. I have lost my head. I've been in a dark, dark place, and I wish that on no one. And we can turn it around. So let's just try and be better people. Let's just be careful how we judge. Chinese whispers, not just to get me, but it can affect people. People don't understand, and the fake news is like, come on, people use this podcast to tell your story. Can you not see names? No, I can't see names. Can Let's just use this podcast to tell your story. If you believe there's a story, be brave, own it, be proud. You will inspire many people, and it shows that you are inspiring. And every single person I've spoke to, I tell you what, you inspire me every day. And I'm not just saying that; I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because it just puts that extra fire in me to keep on this. And this won't stop. This will just grow and grow and grow and grow. There is a big mission going on, and I'm grateful that people are coming on board with me and joining this train, because this ain't just a Kieran show. This is a safe space between us, which is everyone's show. So I would appreciate, and everyone has a story in it. Yeah, someone has put everyone has a story. Yep. I'm not sure about the word in it, but yeah, everyone does have a story. And what I've noticed, we've been discussing making the books, and I have approached a publisher and stuff. And it might just sound like it's going to be a depressing book, but we've got plans to do with that. Like I said, we've got plans hopefully to have like a catwalk show, a photo shoot, and stuff like that, jumping out of planes, climbing mountains. What else are we doing, guys? A safe space between us, talent show. What else have we discussed? Books, obviously. Someone mentioned doing a calendar. I weren't up for that, but we're up for anything. So there's loads of stuff we're planning, and all the way from now to September we'll be doing that. Then we'll probably we continue this, but have supporting people. But the challenge is we'll probably take a couple of weeks break before we kill ourselves, and then we'll continue again, and again and again and again. Amazingly, someone from America who's been on the podcast is coming down to London for a trip, and she's already contacted me and wants to meet people from a safe space between us. With them, thinking, whoa. And this lovely lady has already contacted me regarding that, so it's just shocking how quick things speed up. And again, feel free to invite people. If it's not for you, you're happy to leave, but also remember you can always join back if you need support. I know it can be annoying. This week's going to be a bit annoying because we're posting loads of stuff of clips of people being on a 24-hour show, people talking, me talking, and many activities going on. But we are here for you. So regardless if we're doing stuff, we do have our phones. We will respond back to you as soon as possible. Like a lovely lady, I was supposed to message a lovely lady back this morning. I didn't message her back to this afternoon, but she was very understanding and stuff. But and also message someone on the group if you don't want to talk to me. There's Tessa, there's Lee, there's Omni, and there'll be a few more others. I just can't mention them yet because I think they're going to agree, but they haven't responded yet. But hopefully there'll be a group of us, not just me, having our set roles and stuff, and you won't just be getting bored of Kieran. You'll see other faces at the same time as well, because I know I can be very boring and one-toned and robot-like. And plus people just might not like my face. So it's fine. And again, do a good deed. I'll start at 9 o'clock tomorrow. So please let me know by tonight if you need something done in my area. I will come to you. Just let me know by tonight, please, so I can schedule my day, etc. So we are just waiting for the lovely lady. Let me know about the climbing mountains one for defo. Who said that? Sorry, I can't read the names. Please, when you comment, just put your name in brackets so I can give you a shout out. But yeah, the climbing mountain one will happen in September. Dates, etc., will be sorted out after this week's crazy week has been done. As we've got every day this week, we've got things going on, and going forward, there's a lot of stuff. My team's going to be upset. Oh, Donna, hello, and that Donna. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll put it on the group, and anyone is welcome to join in. We've got things every day. My lovely team is going to probably get, what the hell are you doing? So the 24 hours was killing, but I have decided that we're going to do that quite regularly. I'm not sure how regularly, but it will happen. What's the link to jump on, Lee? I will invite you, Lee. Just take this. It's in the comments. Jump onto the guest comes on. She should be here any second. But yeah, jump on. I'm struggling. I'll text it to you. But yeah, so we've got loads going on. My team, like Lee, Tessa, and Omni, are going to be a bit upset because I've just announced that we're going to be doing this regularly, the 24 hours show. It's just because we've had so many guests want to get involved, and I think it was a good thing, and it kept people busy. And we spoke about some highlights, some important topics, and the autism one really meant a lot. We got a lot of feedback regarding autism discussion actually, and because there was 2 sections on it, which was one with Lee, who works in the school and has worked with autism/autistic children, and myself, who's got 2 children and stuff who have autism. And I'm just sending this link to Lee. Lee, I have sent it to you on your Facebook. No, on your WhatsApp. But yeah, so Lee will come on and say hello before our guest comes on, and then I'll be beeping Lee out. So Lee, ready? But I hope everyone's well. Yeah, there's no share button. What do you mean there's no share button? Yeah, it's, by the way, we're a private group now. Everyone voted private or not fussed. So if you're not fussed, you're not fussed at private. No one voted for it to be public. So hopefully people engage more now, because that was the point of it. There's no rush to engage on your own time. I just hope those who ain't talking much in the group hope scrolling down puts a smile on your face or inspires you or something. Even though I do silly TikToks at times and stuff, I hope it just puts a smile on your face when you're down. I always said, if we at starting this, if we could help one person, I'll be proud and be happy. But helping 196, we're buzzing. We welcome Lee. Lee, what's happening, mate?
How you doing? Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Not too bad. How's the litter picking?
Interesting. Yeah, it was. It was good. To be fair, I didn't realise how dirty my area was. No, to be fair, if you go a little pick in most areas, you probably realise how much us human beings chuck on the floor. But it was just the weird things like I don't know if a guy said he was going to get his wife to join the page, and we've had a few people join today, so I don't know if his wife's on here. Bumped into this lovely man. He saw me picking up rubbish around the bin. So there was a public bin, but rubbish on the floor, banana skins and stuff, and a banana skin on the fag. You know where you put your fag off? Yeah, there. And he was like, "Did someone leave a banana skin?" He was going mad, and I went, "Yeah." He went, "It's 6 inches below." And I said, "Oh no." But yeah, I found some interesting stuff. Yeah, to be fair, I didn't, as far as I'm aware, I didn't get called anything. I got called, it was positive. Just very tiring.
Because I know that's one thing you was worried about, weren't you? Like being out and about and people saying stuff. So it's good that.
Do you know what? It's because the old me is like, I would have argued back, but I say the new me, I'll probably cry. I'll probably cry these days, innit? I'll probably cry these days, and like because I don't know why, but I'm more sensitive these days. Good thing or a bad thing, it makes me look silly. I don't know, but yeah, it just makes me feel. It was a good day though, but I think I'm going to do it regularly. Like when I'm not doing anything, and if put this like safe space between us gone quiet, like the podcast side, we'll never go quiet behind the scenes. I know we won't, but the podcast side, I'm going to go out there and do it because it was good for me, good for my mind, and it was good just chatting to random. It was just good. There was some randoms I've not seen for years, or some people I've never spoke to. Lovely old lady. I felt so sorry for this lady. I won't say the street name because obviously we're live, but a lovely lady. She must have been in that really 70, 80 easy. She come up to me and said, "Young man, what's this for?" And I explained to her, and she said, "Oh, thanks so much." I went, "No need, thank me." And then she said, "Oh, just to let you know, around the corner, turn left and turn left again. There's a pile of rubbish." And I thought a little bit of rubbish. So poor lady walked me all the way, and I said, "I'll find it." And she said, "No, let me come and show you." Pile of rubbish. Oh my God, someone's dumped like the whole house there. So I managed to pick up what I could, and then just pile it up on not neatly. But some people are just dumping some crazy stuff out there. Like obviously, it's bin wars at the moment in our area because they don't get emptied on time and every 2 weeks. And it's bin wars, and people like putting padlocks on their bins, mate. I saw a couple of padlocks on bins. It's funny, but I don't blame them. But to be fair, we shouldn't be arguing with each other. It's not our fault. We need to store rubbish somewhere. Shouldn't be dumping it in other people's bins. But it's just what can you say? It's not our fault. But yeah, it's been interesting, mate. But look, I feel refreshed today. Can you see a clean shave?
Yep.
I look like a young boy now. From Monday. But I don't know. Let me message.
With the hair and that, you look like you're about to do a 90s boy band reunion.
What? Do you know what someone called me today? You remember the singer Jay Sean?
Oh yeah.
Even if the sky is falling down, that guy. Someone said you look like Jay Sean. I went, no, I don't.
I used to love that. I got my eyes on you, son. That was Jay Sean, I think.
Yeah, I think it was. But then someone said that I look like a guy called Ronnie in EastEnders. I've never heard of a Ronnie.
Ronnie?
Apparently years ago. Apparently he was a DJ or something in EastEnders. I don't remember him.
The only
Does
Ronnie
anyone remember Ronnie from EastEnders? I thought Ronnie and Mitchell, innit?
Well, exactly, the girl. Trust me, you don't like her.
Well, this is the lady. see what happens because. But yeah, so how's your day been?
Yeah, not too bad. Had two nice young people. Well, obviously not nice because the reason why they had to come to my room, but we've done some growth mindset work and
Oh,
stuff like that, and they responded really well. So it's nice when it's like that because a couple
yeah.
of things you see it clicking in people's heads and you give over some information, and it was nice to see. We had some really good chats and some open and honest chats, so that was quite nice.
Mm. Right,
So
Lee,
I'll let the
I'm
cop
gonna
join up.
Lee, I'm gonna let you say goodbye to everyone
Yeah,
and jump
and
on
yeah,
after if you want.
okay, yeah, brilliant. And then
But take it, mate. Thanks for jumping on.
no worries, mate. Speak to you later.
Much love, mate. Bye. Good evening. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can hear you. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm tired, but I'm fine, thank you.
I bet.
How are you? You feeling okay being live?
Yeah, no, it's great. I was having some trouble getting in, but I got it figured out.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was just talking to the viewers, and I get bored of my own voice. I was thinking, come on, please log on.
I didn't forget you. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for agreeing to do what we're going to be doing. Obviously, so we're going to be talking about your story at some point, but are we going to do the other thing first?
I could do the meditation first.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
should we do that first, and then we can talk about your story? Before we start, just introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about yourself, where you're from. So I'm in the UK, and it's 8:05 here. Yeah, so everyone gets a feel of who you are.
Sure. My name is Casey Atkins. I am the owner of Celestial Oasis Energy Spa. I am located in the Chicago suburbs. So time here is like 2 o'clock, a little earlier here for me than you, luckily. Um, I'm really excited to be a part of this. I think what you're doing is absolutely fantastic. I will
Thank
share
you.
more of my story later on, but I am very passionate about meditation and yoga and mindfulness, neurolinguistics, just different ways to help people get in that state of calm and build that resiliency that we absolutely need in this world, especially right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree with that. And that's one thing I love is people like yourselves around the world coming on, telling your story, but has actually turn that bad side or negative side of your life into a positive and trying to do something good. So I applaud you. And hopefully together we can break that stigma and get
Yes.
people talking. So before we get to your story, obviously we get to know a bit more about you shortly after. The floor is on. I will follow. I will, if it's okay for me to join in. And anyone at home listening, watching, feel free to join in. If you're not watching live, I will put this out again and keep posting it as well. But over to Casey.
Thank you. So, with meditation, I like to start with just that mindful breathing. And I encourage all of you to go ahead and just close your eyes, listen to the sound of my voice, and put yourself in a state of calm. And start with thinking about whether you need a minute to lay on a yoga mat, sit comfortably, wherever you can put yourself, even if you're at work and this is the middle of the day, in that seat. Just get to a place where it is quiet, where the sound of my voice is what you have coming in, hopefully without any distractions. And if there are distractions, know that that's okay. There is, with meditation, we do live in busy worlds, and there are times where the outside world will come in, and learning to build that state of mindfulness and presence within the meditation. If you do have those outside noises, it's okay. I want you to go ahead and start by taking a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. You could just follow along with me. Take another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as you take those deep breaths, I want you to focus in on relaxing your body, starting with the tips of your toes. Focus your mind and your energy on your toes, relaxing, taking those deep breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. Just feeling your body slowly relaxing, moving to the tops of your feet. Feel that relaxing, and feel that relaxing sensation just travel up to your ankles, then to your shins. Continue that mindful breathing where you are breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feeling your body continuing to relax deeper and deeper. Feeling heavier and heavier wherever you are. Allowing your body to just sink and feel completely at ease and supported. Now feeling that relaxation just slowly creeping up through your knees, the backs of your legs, continuing that mindful breathing, feeling that relaxation just slowly going up further and further from your thighs to your hips. Taking another deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Feeling your abdomen relax, your lower abdomen, your lower back. Allow that relaxation to just continue to flow upwards, almost like gentle waves rocking you ever so slowly. And allow that relaxation to continue up through your belly, up into your chest, through your shoulders. And where you are now, feel if there's any part of your body that we've already walked through that may still feel tense. And if there is any pressure or tense places that still are existing in the places that we've already reached with relaxation, take this time to focus in purposefully on that tension. Take a deep breath in, and as you release that breath, just envision that tension dissipating ever so slowly, allowing any heaviness, any tightness to completely fade away, allowing you to be relaxed and present in the here and now. And as you continue that deep, purposeful breathing, feeling that relaxation continue up through your throat, through your shoulders, going all the way to your jaw, feeling your jaw relax, then your mouth, up into your cheeks, followed by your nose, your eyes, your forehead, and then just feel that relaxation cascade back down the center of your frame, cascading out both of your arms, into your wrists, into your fingers. Feel that relaxation just continuing to rock you ever so slowly and gently, bringing you deeper and deeper into that state of calm. And as your body is fully relaxed, I want you to take another deep breath in through your nose for the count of 4. So breathe in for a count of 4. Hold that breath for a count of 7. And then release through your mouth for a count of 8. Now I want you to envision there is a beautiful bright white light coming in over the top of your head, just cascading slowly down the center of your body. And that light is bringing a sense of clarity, of peace, cleansing away anything negative, anything stale or stagnant within your energy, bringing in that loving, healing, powerful light and energy that allows your body to further relax and be present and be open in a state where you can promote your self-healing. And just soak in that white light energy. You may envision that it is bright and white and coming in as a sparkly white light. Others may envision a golden, bright white light. Your light may have colors. Just allow whatever is coming to you to be absorbed and to process, bringing that healing and comfort and calm at a cellular level. And then I just want you to visualize a bright red ball of energy and light coming in right at the base of your spine. And that red energy and light, it brings in a sense of security, a sense of safety, a sense of presence and empowerment, washing away any uncertainty, any confusion, any feelings of powerlessness. And then I want you to watch as that red light and energy slowly fades to a beautiful orange color. And that orange color light and energy is going to come in right at your lower abdomen. And that energy brings you a sense of appreciation and love for your body, for this life. Brings in passion and empowerment, balancing all divine masculine and divine feminine traits, empowering that sense of wholeness and oneness, bringing in that sense of creation, empowering creativity, and that vital life force energy. Feel that energy going and growing till it is completely encompassing you from head to toe. And then that orange light and energy you see fade to a beautiful bright yellow color. And that bright yellow light and energy is going to come in right around your belly button. And that energy and light brings a sense of playfulness and joy. a sense of vitality and empowerment, clearing away any heavy, negative, stale energy that is preventing or blocking you from connecting to your greatest and highest good is just washed away with that beautiful yellow sunshine-like light and energy. And allow that light and energy to completely flow to and through you, soaking in as much as needed, allowing that light to empower playfulness and joy, excitement. And then watch as that bright yellow light and energy slowly fades to a beautiful green color. And that green light and energy is going to come in right at your heart center. And feel that energy and light bringing in a sense of calm and peace, removing any betrayals, any fears, allowing for forgiveness of any hurts, whether done to you or by you, bringing in that sense of pure and complete unconditional love. The ability to love and be loved fully from a state of consciousness and vulnerability, empowering healthy boundaries and enabling your heart to connect directly through to your voice and to your mind, clearing that pathway and channel so that you have that clear communication and channel to make purposeful and loving decisions and choices that align to your greatest and highest good. Now that green light and energy is going to fade to a beautiful bright pink color. And that bright pink colored energy and light is going to come in right around your collarbone. And that goes to your higher heart. That is where we have the sense of our self-love, our acceptance of self, the compassion, forgiveness of any mistakes, any wrongdoings, knowing that our path is the path that is meant to be, and we are empowered to make purposeful, loving choices and be confident in who we are in the here and now. And feel that bright pink energy coming in and cascading to and through you, almost as if a beautiful wave of unconditional love is being brought in as angelic energy, just the most intense, powerful sense of unconditional love flowing to and through you, washing away any self-sabotaging behaviors, any negative thought patterns, any self-harming or self-deprecating actions that are preventing you from aligning to your greatest good. Then that pink energy and light is going to fade into a beautiful, light, crystalline blue. And that blue energy and light is going to come in right at the center of your throat. And that light blue energy is going to clear away any sense of disempowerment, any inability to use your voice in a way that aligns to your authentic truth, empowering you to speak what is in your heart and mind from a state of authenticity and love, empowering boundaries to be verbalized, to wash away any people-pleasing behaviors, and bringing about that clear, honest communication. And that light, bright blue energy is going to slowly fade and get darker and darker until it is a deep blue energy and light. And that energy and light is going to come in right at the center of your forehead. That deep blue energy and light clears away any fog, anything that is blocking your clarity, your intuition, helping release those negative thought patterns, helping clear away any blockages that are preventing clarity of mind and thought, removing any heaviness, any fog, anything that is preventing you from being present and clear and very, very empowered in your intuition and your mindset, allowing positivity to flow to and through you. And then that deep, dark blue energy and light is going to get deeper and fade to a beautiful violet color. And that violet colored energy and light is going to come in right at the top of your head, right at the top of your crown. And that energy and light that brings clarity and deepens your connection to the divine, to whatever higher power, whatever sense of higher power that you believe in, that you align to, bringing in that deeper sense of spiritual connection, of oneness, empowering your inner wisdom, your inner knowing, aligning that clarity of any past experiences to completely be open and clear to understand the purpose of the path of each of those experiences, to remove any victim mindset, to empower the inner knowing that what has happened in this lifetime has happened for you and not to you, in order to ensure that you are completing and honoring the path of this life. And your story, your thoughts are meant to be a part of who you are without shame, and that violet light just helps remove any of that sense of shame, disappointment, aligning to that divine empowerment and inner knowing and wisdom that every day is a new day and a new opportunity to take the past, learn from it, and move forward from a place of love, of certainty, of joy and abundance, propelling you forward on a path that is blessed with love and light. Just allow that energy to continue to flow to and through you. And as it continues to move through, I want you to each think of a moment in the last week where you smiled, a big, beautiful smile out of nowhere, whether it was a funny moment with a child, the love of a pet, a hug from someone that means the world to you, or even a silly show. Just find that moment and put yourself back into that moment. Put yourself back into that smile. Feel that sense of joy, of gratitude, of peace and wonder, of being fully present and appreciative. I want you to fully analyze that as a sensory experience. What does that moment look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? Are there colors that stand out to you? And once you have that moment completely analyzed, put yourself back fully in that state until you are in that emotion of joy and of gratitude, of wonder and excitement, and feel that energy cascading to and through you, allowing yourself to feel that smile come right back onto your face as if you were in that moment, to feel that place, and knowing that in any given day, any given week, you can identify a small moment that brought you joy, that brought you happiness, that brought you laughter, that brought you love and gratitude, and align back into that energy, bringing that beautiful sense of peace and excitement, of joy and abundance to you whenever you need it. This energy is meant to be experienced in the present moment, in the here and now, and be channeled whenever we are having difficult times or feeling lost in difficult thoughts. We are able to bring ourselves back to that beautiful state of joy just by reliving the little moments. And I encourage you to just continue to feel that beautiful, powerful moment, silly moment, whatever it is to you, and allow that smile to continue to resonate on your face. Feel that creep up into your eyes, and know this is a true state that can be tapped into at any time, in any place, in any situation. And this is the energy that allows us to build resilience, to heal, to overcome the difficult moments. Because those little moments of love and laughter, of joy, they happen every single day. And we tend to get lost in the ones that are heavier. But all we need to do is take ourselves back into a recent moment, allow our bodies and our minds to completely experience and remember what it felt like to be in that state. And it will refresh and rejuvenate your perspective and your energy, aligning you to a place of clarity and peace, of appreciation and gratitude. Now I just want you to go ahead and envision that bright white light coming in again at the top of your head, almost as a bright white thin string coming from up above, from the sky and the divine, down the center of your body, splitting right at the base of your hips, going down both legs, through both feet, and then spreading almost as if a spider web or roots coming out of the bottom of your feet, grounding you into the earth so that you are connected above and below, body, mind, and spirit, grounded, present, purposeful, and secure, knowing that you are loved and supported and encouraged. And then take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, and slowly bring your awareness back to your body, wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers. Coming back to the here and now whenever you are ready. How are you feeling?
Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
That is very common. That's not a bad thing.
Well,
I get tired when I'm doing it because I get into that state of like complete relaxation where I have to kind of check in with myself.
yeah, I had to check in about twice. The first 10 minutes I could feel myself going, and I had to open my eyes for a split second because I thought, whoa.
But again,
Right.
that's not a bad thing because our subconscious mind can really help us absorb that sense of
Someone's put very relaxing, someone's put very positive. It makes me feel really nice now. The one thing I did notice, when you said remember the last time you put a big smile on your face, I just felt myself remembering this moment and smiling, and I thought, whoa, what's going on here? And then the other, when you said the white bowl of energy over your head, unless I'm losing my head, I thought I could see light white over, like my eyes closed and light coming through. Did anyone else see that when you done that? Feel free to comment during this podcast as well. But I'm going to replay that when I need to go to sleep. Because I struggle. I don't sleep much, so I am going to replay that. Yeah, someone's put. I know exactly what you mean. So almost like you can sense the energy. Someone's put. Can you see the comment?
Yeah, I just went to go turn it on because I wanted to see it too.
Oh yeah, you can see the comment. Unfortunately, I can't see who's commenting on them. But can you see the names?
No, it just says Facebook user.
Yeah. Guys, if you do want us to direct an answer to you, just feel free to put your name. So, I think I'm ready. Are you awake?
Yeah, if only I had a coffee right next to me, but water will do.
If you want, I can put an advert on if you want to put a kettle on.
No, I'm good.
See, someone's put such a very relaxing voice too. I can absolutely see how this may be helpful to a lot of people.
Thank you.
Imagine me doing it. Close your eyes.
You
No,
know,
right.
it's
Go on.
so funny, but it's true. The voice makes a big difference and tone makes a big difference. And I've studied with certain meditation teachers that they do have that deeper, heavier voice. And sometimes it almost sounds like they're yelling at you. It's like, that's not relaxing.
It's not a role for me, I'm telling you. Because I believe I'm one toned. I try and change my voice, but I don't know, it never works. It never works. So let's get to your story then. Let's talk about how you got to this moment. So, girls,
Yeah.
boys, ladies, gentlemen, so now we're going to talk about Casey's story. Um, it's past 8 o'clock in the UK, so I am going to say it can go as deep as you want, you feel comfortable to. Um, so, girls, boys, ladies, and gents, there may be swearing, there may be things you may upset you. If they do, please seek support. I'm here. Feel free to message me. And yeah, let's go. So, Casey, this is your story. So, as I said to you, I don't script anything, I don't write anything. I like it as casual as possible. And please, I don't try and probe. So, if you move on the topic quite quick, I don't come back because I just feel like maybe you don't want to talk about that or something. So, as deep as you want, there's no limits. So start us from the beginning of your story. So as you know, mental health is the main topic, but we do support everything. To me, mental health is a massive spectrum of includes the disability because that can cause anxiety when they're getting bullied, autism, PTSD, anxiety, depression, the menopause, the illness, the lot. So start us off when just tell your story, and then I'll come in when I want to answer something. Over to you again.
That sounds good. And truly, I'm an open book. I was very, very private for a lot of my life because I was in a state of shame and I didn't like to talk about a lot of the things that I had experienced or a lot of the things that I had felt because I was in that state of not just shame, but if I don't talk about it, maybe I won't feel it, and trying to suppress a lot of things that happened to me. But I will start very early. I'm the oldest of four children. We grew up with a single mother, and things were always incredibly tough financially. There were times where we didn't know where we would be from one day to the next in terms of home. And my mom is one of the strongest, most amazing people I have ever met in my life. But she had a lot of issues also with depression, with anxiety, which ended up putting her on a state of legal addiction and ultimately having a lot of issues when I was a child. I ended up dropping out of school when I was 16 years old. And I dropped out of school so that I can work and help support my family, my brothers and sister and I and my mom. It was really hard for her. And I know she was disappointed and she didn't want me to, but I was very dead set on helping. And also, I just didn't feel like school at that time was the place for me because I had ADHD. I was diagnosed with that when I was in 8th grade. I had a lot of issues with bullying people. I never felt like I fit in with anyone. And that was something that I don't want to act like I'm the martyr and I did something so amazing by quitting school and going to work because part of it was selfish in that I would have rather have been working than in school.
Don't
But
worry, I quit. I didn't go. I started working at 16 as well.
did
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, while I was ashamed of it for a long time, it is something that's part of my story and part of what I feel I'm very proud of to this day because after I worked for a few years, I did end up getting my GED and I started a local community college and worked toward a 2-year degree while working and helping my mother with some of the bills. And when I was after community college, I did go away to finish my 4-year degree. I have a degree in psychology. And during that time that I was in college, I was also, unfortunately, the victim of a sexual assault. And that was something that was also a big part of, I believe, my story. And a lot of the anxiety, the depression, the shame, and the guilt that I felt for a long time. I think a lot of women that have been through that, and men, they sense that they're, what did I do, right? What did I do
Yeah.
to bring this on? And it's, you said I could
Like you
swear.
blame yourself. Like you blame yourself. Like why is it me? Why did I do something wrong? Did I choose that? Did I lead them on? Did I choose them to pick me? So I totally understand that.
Right. And you said swearing's okay, right? Because I'm trying to
Yeah. Swearing. Go ahead.
okay. You're really damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, right? And
Hmm.
when you think about that, it's, could I have done something differently? Was it my fault? And I ended up, I didn't report what had happened to me
No.
because I felt that I either wouldn't be believed or I would continue having to relive that moment over and over. And I just, in that, I couldn't do it. And I led my life feeling very guilty about what if he did that to someone else? And what if I
Yeah.
could have stopped it? And it's just that cycle and that spiral. And that was always something that was in my mind. Um,
I
I would,
relate. I relate. I definitely relate.
what was that?
I definitely relate to you to that.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think a lot of people do, and
Mm.
it's very sad, and that's why I feel very I'm not ashamed of my story, and I want to tell my story because I know
Yeah.
there are other people that like you that have been through similar things that, damn, if we didn't beat ourselves up for way too long and think that we were alone and didn't seek that sense of understanding and healing. And I went through traditional therapy. I did do different things to try and help me heal from that experience, but it never really went away. And I had already had that abandonment from my father not really being in the picture as I was growing up, but then having that sense of distrust. When I was sexually assaulted, I was with a group of friends. This was it was a friend of a friend. So I thought I was in a place that I was safe. And I thought that I think made it even a little bit more difficult for me.
Yeah.
But when I did seek different types of therapies and treatments, I always felt like it was still there. It was still there, and it was still something that a piece of me, I felt tainted. I felt like I wasn't worthy of people, of a genuine relationship. And that was something that absolutely influenced the relationships in my life. And um, hindsight is 2020. When I think about my journey now, I'm like, oh, what was I doing? But I'm not mad at myself. And I forgive myself for being vulnerable and being hurt and not knowing exactly what to do with that hurt. But ultimately, I ended up, the way that my coping strategy was, I was an overachiever to the millionth degree. I took on everything for everybody. I wanted to have accomplishment after accomplishment. And every accomplishment that I achieved didn't feel good enough. I was always seeking something better to help me erase that feeling of not being good enough or of being that person that was used or hurt or not worthy of respect and um, honesty and that loyalty. Um, Once I graduated from college, I went and I started a career. And I was one of the youngest leaders in the company that I worked at. Um, it was awesome. I was very proud of myself, and it was very empowering, but I still felt like something was missing, and I would chase that something with different relationships or unhealthy friendships, looking for validation everywhere except for within myself. That was definitely something that I wasn't attention seeking, and I was always very timid, and I was very quiet. I spent a lot of my life wanting to be invisible and trying very hard to be invisible because I was afraid that anytime I made myself present, something bad happened to me, and putting myself out there was very difficult for me.
Yeah.
But once I started that leadership role, I felt like, okay, I am putting myself out there. I am empowered, but I can do that in a way that is helpful to others. And it meant the world to me because I was not that leader that led from a place of I'm the boss and I said so, especially because I was young. I probably could have done that very easily and taken that as something to feed my ego. But my whole life, I've always been that caring person. I don't want people to suffer because I suffered. I want people to have better and do better. And if they could learn from my mistakes or my hurt or my experiences, then I want to share that and use that to empower and encourage others. And I feel like I was very successful in that. And ultimately, I ended up going to a different company where I worked in corporate leadership for almost 15 years. In that company, I held almost, I think, 8 different roles in 7 different departments, which was pretty much unheard of. But I wanted to learn everything, and I wanted to experience everything, and I wanted to influence as much good as possible. And I realized that as I was doing that, I was getting more and more burnt out. I was getting to a place where I was not taking care of myself. And then I became a mom. And then I absolutely was not prioritizing myself. So I had these competing identities of successful career woman, of wife, of mother. And while all of this is going on, my son's father, my ex-husband, when we met, we worked together. He seemed like a safe choice. And from someone who didn't have that stable household, that stable environment, when I think back, I know that I did not marry my ex-husband for love and passion, and he was my best friend. I did it for a sense of safety and stability. We got along, and we were together for almost 7 years, and it was like what you're supposed to do. But in hindsight, I realized that that was not the right move for me. But I say all that because I've always had very, very strong intuition. I've always been very connected. I've always been very spiritual. And that, I think, has been what's helped me be so resilient and not fall into that victim mindset and not stay in that high school dropout, could have been nothing. And, many of us do get there. And I won't say that I've never been in the victim mindset. Believe me, I have had my moments, but I try to make them moments versus large periods of time.
Yeah.
And he was in law school, and while he was in law school and I was working full time and taking care of our son, I found out, I just had a weird feeling. He had lost both of his parents. We'd gone through a lot. And I ultimately found out that he was a heroin addict. And that was probably one of the most scary and devastating and shocking things that I could have possibly gone through. He wasn't the person that you would ever expect. Like I said, he seemed safe. He came from a good family. He was in law school. Probably the last person I would ever think. And I went through another very, very dark place at that point where I didn't know what to do. I worked very hard to try to help him get into rehab, to help him focus on his mental health and to deal with what was going on, not just with his addiction, but what led up to the addiction. And
Yeah.
he absolutely, he didn't have the best coping skills. And that was something that I began working on for me as I was trying to work on it for him. And I'd been doing yoga off and on since I was in college. That was one of my, well, that was probably actually the only healthy coping mechanism that I had in college. Everything else was typical college, you know, you drink, you have fun, you party. But through yoga, I started going back into yoga and doing more of that to help become centered and kind of work through what was going on with my marriage, with him, with the addiction, and with being a full-time working mother. It was a lot. And there were moments where I was terrified that something was going to happen to him. And as much as we didn't align with who we were in terms of marriage, he's the father of my son. And
Yeah.
I wanted him to be healthy and happy and in a place where he could be the best father in the universe to my son. So I really did work very hard to try to help empower him to be that person. There were moments we ended up staying together for about a year after I first discovered, and there probably were at least a dozen rehab stays in and out at that time. And ultimately I had to walk away. And as hard as that was, I made that choice because I knew that life was not healthy for my son. And he had put my son in a place of risk. And for me as a mother, my life revolved around my son and will always revolve around my son. So that was another difficult time in my life where that anxiety, that depression, that feeling of that sense of abandonment, right? To me, he chose
Yeah.
drugs over me, over my family, over my son. In reality, I know that's not the case. I know, but in the moment, that's how I felt. I felt, how could you do this? And again, that's where that victim, yes, I do. I've been in the victim mindset. I just try not to live there. Visit, yes, it happens. I'm human. But that all happened, and it brought a different reality to my life. And at the same time as all of that was happening, I was noticing my son was only about 18 months at the time. I was noticing that he was not making the speech milestones that he was supposed to be making. And I had noticed that even from birth, my son, he had all of these, he would move his fingers and his hands and his feet and his toes. And some of my family used to joke and say, "Oh, look, Nico's dancing, Nico's dancing." And mama's intuition and my psychology, child development, knowledge, it wasn't sitting with me right. And I ended up having him evaluated at 18 months. And he was diagnosed on the autism spectrum. He is, I've had him in every kind of therapy you could ever think of, and doing everything from speech, OT, PT. While he struggled with speech, gross motor, all of those milestones, he blew out of the water. He was walking, crawling, he was climbing, he has amazing gross motor planning. And he was always very loving, very just very, very sweet and kind and empathetic to the millionth degree. And I feel very, very blessed with my son, because his journey has also brought me here. And one of the aha moments for me, in all of the times that I stayed silent, all of the times that I allowed myself to not necessarily be the victim, but not be empowered to share what I had been through, I felt like that was the universe. By having a son that is completely nonverbal, that was the universe saying, how dare you not use your voice? How dare you not be that voice? And I might get a little emotional as I'm going through, but it gave me a different sense of empowerment and of appreciation for utilizing the gifts and the things that so many of us take for granted and don't realize that it is a gift to be able to articulate what we're thinking and what we're feeling. And that, to me, is something I'm very passionate about too. So many of us pretend to act like we're numb and, oh, nothing phases me. I don't get angry. I don't get sad. I'm here. And I won't do that ever again. And I spent so much of my life like, look, I'm a badass. Look at all I've been through, and I'm still here, and I'm still successful. And no, I'm still, yes, I still feel like I'm a little bit of a badass, but I get sad, I get depressed, I get anxious, I get overwhelmed. I am human and I want to be human. I want to feel, and I don't ever want to be in a state where I allow the hurt that I've experienced to put me in that place of numb. And I was never the person that numbed with substances. I numbed with minimizing my feelings and finding ways to stay so busy and using that achievement as a trauma response. Like, oh, I'm chasing this. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to work 50 hours a week. And that's not healthy either.
No, it's not. And you should be proud of yourself that you've gone through all that. Can I just take you back a little bit? Is that all right? You okay? Yeah. Yeah. So, I just wanted to talk about. Obviously, you said you was like getting bullied and that in school and stuff like that. Like, I just wanted to see what it was like back then, where you was regarding mental health and bullying and stuff like that. So, first of all, your circle, like friends, your family, did you make them aware early on that you was going through the bullying, and what kind of support was there for you? Obviously, did you know what mental health was? Because obviously, when you get bullied, you go home, you're crying, anxiety, depressed. Did you feel what was going on with you? And what support did you get, if any?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I skipped over a big piece that I didn't intentionally skip over. I would share with my mom, but she was going through so much of her own mental health issues that it often felt dismissed. And back then, I mean, I don't feel like I'm that old, but I'm almost 40. So, when I think about when I was 13, mental health wasn't something that was widely discussed. It wasn't, kids will be kids,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of that. And I think it was even harder because I had a great support system and circle of friends up until I was in 8th grade. And that's when my parents got divorced and we moved. And my mom moved us to an area that was far more affluent than we had ever been around. And even though she couldn't afford it, and that caused a whole bunch of other issues, but I really didn't feel like I related. And I was bullied because I didn't have the cool clothes. I was a rail thin. I was olive oil. I had the big glasses, super skinny. No one was doing me any favors in the fashion department. That's for sure. And I was, the one thing that I will say that I have now that I always had, I wasn't the kid. If you bullied me, I was going to call you out on it. And I wasn't going to fight, but I was going to tell you that you're an asshole.
Oh, good on you.
And that it didn't serve me better or worse, but that was just kind of a part of who I was. And what happened throughout my teens and what got worse is that my mom was in a very, very emotionally abusive relationship and a very toxic relationship that she pursued after my parents' divorce. And as the oldest, as the one trying to keep everything together and having that sense of normal for my family, I took on a lot. And I took
Yeah.
on a lot at home. I had so much stress and anxiety. I had my first panic attack when I was 12. And I mean, when I mean panic attack, I will never forget. I was in the basement of our house and I was on the floor and I was rocking, crying, screaming, feeling like the whole world around me was just caving in. And that's not something that you forget. And to have experienced that at such a young age, and I had no idea what was happening to me. I didn't. If I go back to that moment, I can't even tell you what triggered it.
Yeah.
I just know exactly what it felt like. And when I shared that with my mom, she did end up helping me find a therapist, and I did go to therapy for a little while, but I didn't feel like the therapist truly was understanding what I was going through. And I also felt like I couldn't be completely honest. Like, yeah, my house is a scary place to be right now. My stepfather was really a terrible alcoholic, the most amazing man in the universe. And I had so much love for him, but his alcoholism made him a very, very selfish and toxic person. And my mom they fed into that toxic pattern together, to the point where there were times where I literally had to go get my mom off of the train tracks, where she would be sitting on the train tracks just, and doing that at like 15 years old. it
Mm.
it was a lot, obviously. um she was a cutter. Her and my It was like they would have these toxic contests of who could hurt themselves the worst, and then I would be trying to get them to focus on, could we just not do this? Could we work through this in a way that is healthy? And I obviously, as at 15 years old, wasn't really getting anywhere with my mother and my stepfather at the time. So I remember one day it was really, really bad. And I don't really, I think my mom had cut her arm, or I don't even remember what she had done. But it was 2 days after my 16th birthday, and I went and I grabbed a razor blade and I went up to my mother and I said, "Do you see how stupid this is?" And I cut my arm. And I had no idea how sharp a razor blade actually was. And I did a nice scar to my arm. And I really didn't have the intention of hurting myself. I didn't have the intention. I just wanted to show them how ridiculous what they were doing was.
Yeah.
And horrible way to do it. But in my 16-year-old mind, I wanted to prove a point. And because I did that, we had to go to the emergency room, and I was forced to remain in the hospital for a week under psychiatric care and evaluation. And I think that was the best thing that ever happened to me, truly. Some of the coping skills that I learned there, I truly believe have saved my life in many situations, in knowing that people do experience really, really dark times and get into places of feeling hopeless and lost and overwhelmed. But seeing the counselors and the doctors and the different people, truly, I was very lucky. I know not all hospitals are staffed with super caring, loving people, but I felt supported, and I felt that I was finally being heard. I was finally able to release all of the heavy, scary things that I was experiencing at home without feeling like, what if something happens to me? Because everything had already happened to me. The worst that I could have envisioned, I was sitting, in a mental hospital for a week, days after my 16th birthday. Not what most people want to experience. But that was something too. I would have never, ever told anybody that story or shared that or talked about it. I used to tell people that the scar that I had on my arm, I got from helping my stepdad work on a car in the driveway. So I had the lie.
Good story. Good story.
I would have never felt okay. I mean, and it was so bad. They couldn't even stitch it. I needed staples. I was walking around like Frankenstein. It was awful. Um, definitely don't recommend it.
No, I
But
just feel for you that you went. It choked me up a little bit because you saying your age and that, and I have to put my hands up. It's similar what I've put my own children through because drinking drugs, and if my kids like we're better, but if they can go through that what you've gone, I just hope they can turn that into be as successful as yourself because I put what you've gone through. I've kind of done similar to my own children. So I have to be honest, and I can. It's just Sorry you had to go through that.
no, and again, I think that's so awesome and brave, and you should be proud that you're in a place where you're bringing that to light and you're owning that. And I will tell you, my mom she's been sober and off of all medication, all pills for a good decade. And I think I always thought the world of my mom. I knew that she was a very emotionally weak person. She didn't have, no one ever taught her coping skills. No one ever taught her healthy relationships. She came from an abusive family. And it's like these cycles keep repeating themselves. And that doesn't mean that the individual that is experiencing that is a horrible person or a totally weak person. Some of us break through that in different ways at different ages and stages. And I honestly believe we all have our own paths for a reason. And I think that I'm sure your children will know that and love and respect that you got past that, because I know
No, yeah, I hope so. Obviously, doing what I'm doing now is, I hope one day they can see you turn a bad into a positive, etc. But it's just kind of hit me because obviously they've not said that's how they felt, but I can imagine what you've went through. That's how they felt. If that makes sense. Hearing
yeah,
what you said was just like, whoa, that's um. But yeah,
yeah.
like it's even though like we can be good and that, it's just I just do feel like it's like a recycle, isn't it? So having my own rubbish childhood, and then you become a parent yourself, and then your habits start or things happen, and then I've always said I didn't want this. I want to do different. I want to be different to my parents. Blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously last year hit, and then it's just like, yeah, you can change, but it's like I say, like you've gone through it, and it's obviously um, you've been successful, and what you're doing now, and coming on and telling your story. So how often have you told your story? Because I found you quite choked up at times. You was a bit choked up just talking. So
Yeah.
does that happen a lot when you talk to people about it, or is it very rarely?
Um, honestly, I've told my story. I've done my own podcast with my story, so I've shared it
Yeah.
there, and I've shared pieces of it. But I honestly believe as I've gone throughout this journey and working to heal myself and to really integrate some of the dark things that I've experienced, I do feel like I get choked up more because I'm actually allowing myself to process and to feel. And I'm glad, honestly, because I spent so many years acting like it didn't matter, or it didn't happen, or that, it's not a big deal. Other people have been through worse, or it. I now allow myself that emotion, and I think that releasing emotion, we are meant
Good.
to process and release. It's really important. We're not meant to pretend that nothing happened. And I think that's a huge part of the breaking the stigma of mental illness and mental health, is allowing us to be in a place where we can talk honestly and openly and vulnerably. And if we cry, if we ugly cry,
Yeah.
you
No,
know,
no, I'm not doing no ugly cry because mine's like. But yeah, I respect that, and I totally with you, because I've become more emotional since I've been doing this, but because telling your story, exactly what you've just said, basically telling your story, and obviously we've both of us and everyone out there who's been going through different things and same things, different things. You build it up for so many years. Like in my case was 25, 20 years, 21 years. If my math's right, yeah, 21 years. And you build it up for so long, and it's just like, it all comes out. But eventually, it does feel, oh, I needed that. And still now, like I had a podcast the other week, and it just chokes you. Like every podcast chokes them off, and I'll try and. The only problem is because I can see myself in the video. I'm like, Kieran, you dare, because I can see it. But usually, if I can't see myself, I'm happy to just release it. But it's good for you, and I'm glad that you've come here and said certain things. But do you mind me just going back on a few things? Is that all right?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, doing your ex-husband and regarding the heroin addict and stuff like that. Obviously, I was a cocaine addict. I come to terms in agreeing. I used to deny I was, but finally seeking help, and I realised, well, you was taking it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That makes you an addict. And I respect that what you decided for your children. Like my partner was on the verge of doing a similar thing, because putting her and her children, like her children comes first, and I respect that. Do you know if he's been clean? Is he support? Did he get the support? Did it
So
help him? Did it help him get better, you leaving him?
yeah, I think so, absolutely. Did it help him get completely better? Is he 100% sober? No.
Different? No. Okay.
He's moved to different coping mechanisms, and that's been very difficult for me, because I never wanted my son to not have his father in his life. That I never wanted to be that woman. That I'm never going to be that person. That I'm not going to punish him by saying you can't see your son. However, if he's not in a sober, healthy place,
No, of course, yeah.
my son can't, especially with my son being nonverbal. How do I trust that he's with him and something isn't happening and my son can't tell me? So there's a whole nother level of fear and protection that I feel.
No, and I respect that. Like, that's mum's instincts, and that's the right thing to do. Like,
but it's hard.
Yeah, of course it will. Of course, and I respect that. I'm glad you mentioned your son. So, just to go through it, talk about him a little bit. So, obviously non-verbal, and how old is he now, if you don't mind me asking?
He's 10.
He's 10. So, just talk to us how you're coping now with that, and how is he? What support you're getting around with that? It must be difficult. You're doing your business. You're telling your story. You've got your son non-verbal. It must be hard. Like, have you got support that can help you with that, etc.?
Yeah, I do. My mom, I shared she's been completely off of any medication. She is a tremendous support for me. She has a wonderful relationship with my son. She lives 10 minutes away, so she
Lovely.
absolutely helps out. And my siblings are amazing. I have 2 brothers and a sister, and they're very involved in my son's life. So he has the best auntie and uncles in the world. And with him, the biggest thing that happened and kind of tweaked me from being in that corporate leadership role to where I am now, my biggest fear with my son was something happening and him not being able to tell me.
Yeah, cool.
I think with any parent, when you have a little one and you think, oh, I don't want to send him to preschool because what if something happens and they can't?
Happens.
But I have a child that is almost my size and he still can't tell me. And that it's very, very hard. But I found out just over a year ago, my son was being bullied. He was being bullied and threatened physically, sexually. I mean, to the most awful, terrible things. And it had been happening for 9 months without me being aware. I had noticed that my son was regressing with some of his behaviors. During COVID, I was able to get him fully potty trained. He was doing really well. He was making new vocalizations. And then I saw him kind of regressing as he went back to school. But as I was talking with his teachers and with his counselors, everybody assured me that he's probably just adjusting because going back to school, right? He'd been learning from home and got to be with mama all day long. And this is a lot of the kiddos were experiencing some regression during, returning back from learning. And I couldn't shake the feeling. And again, my intuition has always been just insane. And I'm very grateful. But I had my son wearing, it's a watch. It's called Angel Sense. And it's a GPS watch. So I can always figure out where he is, but it also gives me the ability to listen in. And one day I just couldn't shake, and I didn't listen in constantly because I knew I would drive myself crazy.
Yeah.
So I had to have boundaries with that. But one day I listened in and I overheard what this child was saying to my son. And this child, at the time my son was 9, this child was 15 going on 16. He should have never even been on the same bus as my son. And just hearing what I heard, that is actually what triggered my PTSD. Because I felt like I was back in that moment of when I was assaulted and I felt helpless. And yes, still processing.
No, it's okay.
But
I'm assuming what kind of what was said, and
so I overheard the child.
angry. Go on, if you're happy to say it.
Yeah, no, I overheard the child saying things like, I'm going to kick your fucking ass. I'm going to take you off of this bus and beat you where there's no cameras. I'm going to have you suck horrible, horrible things. Like, I was in such a state of panic and I was hysterically crying. I was holding my phone listening to this and debating if I should get into my car and chase wherever the bus was, figure out where the bus was, or sit there, because if I got in my car, would I even be able to drive without hitting something, because I was in such a state. And it was the most horrific. I would not wish that on anyone in any way. But it took me back to that helplessness. It also took me back to that feeling of, am I being punished because I didn't speak up when this happened to me? Is this almost like karma coming back because I didn't do the right thing? And maybe there were other victims, and now is my son paying the price? And that was very, very hard to deal with. But it also, in that time, I took a leave of absence from my job, and I focused on getting Nico and I both the treatment and the help that we needed to be in a healthier emotional and mental state after all that had occurred. And I made over 75 phone calls to therapists trying to find someone that could work with my son, and no one had experience with someone nonverbal and the extent of what had been done with us both being diagnosed with PTSD. I felt like I was trying to do everything right and hitting wall after wall, and it was the most excruciating, miserable time. That really was, of all the things that I'd been through, that was by far the worst. I would go back to my 16-year-old self and dealing with all of my parents, all of that over and over again, seeing my son hurt, knowing that he was being hurt. And what was worse was the teachers knew, the bus driver, the aide knew. There were only 4 children on this bus and 2 adults, and they continued to allow this to happen and ignore it. And it was heartbreaking. And I started looking. I shared that I had done yoga, and that was a part of my coping since about my college years. And I found Reiki energy work through yoga. And I started going for Reiki and massage. And I learned Reiki about 8 years ago. So I started giving my son Reiki and practicing more of that energy transfer and finding different ways, because I couldn't find a therapist. I couldn't find anybody to actually do what they say you're supposed to do to heal right after a traumatic event. Everywhere I went, everybody kept saying, well, Mom, you're going to go through this for the rest of your life. You're just going to have to take care of you, and you need to go through therapy, and you need to do these things. I said, I understand, and I am, but that doesn't negate what my son experienced, and he still needs to heal, and I need to help him be supported in that. So while I was on a leave of absence, we started pursuing different holistic wellness modalities. I took him to a light touch, gentle chiropractic center, and they really worked on helping calm his central nervous system. And slowly I saw my happy little man coming back, and we would meditate together. I would guide him through, just as I did with the group today. And we did a lot of spending time outside in nature. And I took him to a holistic wellness practitioner that did sound healing. I learned how to use tuning forks and sound bowls and binaural beats and all of the different energy frequencies that help calm the central nervous system, help just trigger different states of calm and relaxation. And I learned reflexology. He loves having his feet rubbed, and being able to help him get into that state of calm and working through some of that trauma that way. And I'm doing all of this. I think I was on leave of absence for, it was probably about 60 days total. And when I finally went back to work, my son was doing a lot better, and I kept him out of school this entire time. He was out of school for about 6 months total. I was working with him with in-home ABA therapists, and I couldn't imagine sending him back to school at that time. And just really, we were focusing on us getting healthy in every way that we possibly can. And I think in that time, we bonded and grew even more so. And as horrible as everything was, it did, I think, propel a level of healing and resilience in both of us. And as I went back to work, I couldn't focus. I couldn't do it. And it wasn't just because of what had happened with my son. I kept going back to, there has to be a way to help people. No mom should be trying to get their child help and I had insurance, I had the resources, I had everything you are supposed to need to get the help, and no one to actually do it. So I really felt drawn to learning more and more about holistic wellness, and I started working at a holistic wellness center that was local, just part-time, doing Reiki energy work, guided meditations, helping with empowerment coaching. I got my certification as a life and career coach. And I saw I was feeling better. And the happier I was and the more centered I was, the happier and more centered my son was. And I saw how much our energy truly feeds off of each other. And I felt in that moment another sense of guilt in that I had been so focused on my career, and I was working at least 12, 13-hour days, 5 days a week. I was so burned out. I wasn't being the best mom. Maybe I wasn't a drug addict or an alcoholic, but I was not being the mom that my child deserved. I was not present. When I was present, I was easily agitated because I was so focused on the next deadline, or, what is coming at me, what is being held over my head. And it was not healthy. And people think and thought that I was absolutely crazy. And how could you possibly leave a stable career and a 6-figure job to go and, do this unknown thing and, start from scratch? But I knew in my heart and soul that all of the horrible things that had happened, especially with my son and I together, had happened so that I can be on this path and be that positive influence and do things like this and share my story and hopefully encourage other people to know that you can do it. And there's no right or wrong way. And I know that there was such a long time where I was so focused on what other people thought of me, and I don't give a shit. And that is a level of freedom and joy. And I'm telling you, when I think about anxiety, when I think about some of those horrible panic attacks, that was always external. Always. It wasn't even coming in from the internal trauma I'd experienced anymore. It was, what is so-and-so going to think, feel, act? And it was awful. And since I started my business in September of last year. Started in a really small, tiny little studio that barely fit a massage table. And now I am it's still small. It's probably 500 square feet, but it's triple what I started. And it's only 9 months later. I'm putting together different, not only do I do individual services, but I do wellness classes, empowerment. A lot of us deal with imposter syndrome. I've always been, had the psychology background. I've always been fascinated by neuroscience, and having a child on the autism spectrum only made me that much more interested in that. And I also, my whole life, ever since I was diagnosed with ADHD, I was on some sort of medication, whether it was ADHD medication, anti-anxiety, antidepressants. So probably from the age of 14 to 38, I was on some sort of different medication, if not multiple. And all of this that happened, I have not taken any medication in a year. I have not had an anxiety or panic attack in a year. And I know that I am here and feeling that because I finally allowed myself to focus on healing.
Mm.
And I wouldn't have done it just for me. My son gave me that.
Yeah.
And I swear it's like there are times where I know that he knows that too. And he's the greatest gift that I could have ever asked for. He has taught me a sense of patience and unconditional love and resilience. And I see some of the challenges that he has. And how can you not be inspired when you see somebody that can't that can't articulate what they need or want, but still he runs around and he's the happiest, most energetic, loving, empathetic kid. And I swear, we go to different areas, whether it's a family party or a friend of a friend of a friend, he always gravitates toward the people that are hurting the worst. And it's just instantaneous that I tell him he's my little healer. He is just this beautiful ball of love. And when I think about autism, I think, you know what? This isn't a disability. This is evolution. He is here and he is living by example and being this person that is we all should be that lucky to be that happy, that loving, that kind, and that willing to keep trying even when things are difficult.
Can I give you, or can I read something to you, and can I pass it to you to read? Send it. Can I message it to you for you to read to your son? I read something the other day. You talked about autism. So is it okay? I can read it.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
so I just called it autism. So there's a safe space between us where autism is embraced. You're not alone in this journey. Your strength should be praised. Autism is a superpower that with confidence and care can unlock endless potential and take you anywhere. Every child and adult should be proud of who they are and embrace their unique journey with courage and a start. In the playground, your children being bullied and torn apart should walk with their heads held high and a fire in their heart. For autism is not a disease but a power to behold. With joy and resilience you can conquer and hold. So all to those children out there with autism as your might, you are my superhero and your future is bright. That's for your son.
Beautiful. Yeah, please send me that.
I said it to I just want to say firstly, I don't mean to get angry here. I'm so fucking sorry your son went through that on the bus.
Thank you.
Still to this day, two things I hate in this world: bullying and stigma around mental health. And I was bullied. I was stabbed in school, and probably my own fault. That what I was saying. I had a mouth on me, but I don't think anyone deserves to get stabbed. But for that to be said, and this what angers me in life now, and even here in the UK in my area. You see a child go through. I'm sitting on that bus. I'm just picturing me sitting on that bus. You see a child getting threatened, and that. For me, I'm getting up. I'm getting up and I'm saying something. But still, in this day, you get too many adults walking past, ignoring this. And I don't care if I lose followers, if I lose people. I don't give a shit. To all you adults out there, if you can allow a kid like that to get bullied, we've had kids here get stabbed, and I'm not saying put your life at risk, but at the end of the day, there's more adults to the children. And if we stand up and say enough's enough, don't pick on that kid, just how can you live with yourself? Because I'm sorry, I couldn't live with myself knowing that your kid had to go through that, go home. So no child in this world should have to go through that shit. And I'm so sorry that your child had to go through that. And to any parent out there, imagine that happening to your child, and we carry on letting it to others, because one day we would want. The way I look at it, I would want someone to step in if it happened to my son. So I'm going to do the same. So the world to me is fucked up. Because and this is why, and I'll make a promise to your son right now that I will make sure in everything I can. And I know I might be in the UK, but I am so passionate what I'm doing at the moment. It ain't just about the UK. I want to get to where you are, get to wherever everyone is. It's just this shit don't happen again, and to break that stigma. And people like him, I've got two kids with autism. They get treated unfairly. It's a fact. They get treated unfairly. They get either picked on, But the problem is with the kids who's picking it on, I don't actually blame the kids. I blame the parents inside the house, because it's those comments. So those children might get extra support, but then it's those parents who get jealous. Why is that boy getting a 1-to-1? It's actually it's not a good thing. It's because it might be a good thing, but my son, for example, has 1-to-1. To him, he thinks everyone's looking at me. So, and then he's feeling that, and then the parent or the normal kid is saying he shouldn't have 1-to-1. Then that kid's going in school and beating him up or picking on him. I just think we need more parents who's just don't give a shit what people think of them and just stand their ground and just say enough's enough. And it angers me. I'm so sorry you have to go through that.
No, absolutely. And there's that saying that, silence is violence. And I think that is so true. We are not supposed to stand silent. And this whole mentality, and it doesn't matter if it's the US, the UK, any country, it is happening where we are belittling and acting like, oh, well, that's just the new normal. Fuck that. I'm not allowing that. That's not my normal ever. And
I'm not either. I'm not having it. I'm not having it. And
anybody that thinks that or has even thought, yes, I know that we all have our own difficulties. Yes, we all are in our own pile, right? And the varying degrees of heaviness and consistency. But what we need to do is go beyond that. And that is what's so messed up about this world. And that's exactly why I'm so passionate. And I love that you're doing this. And I thank you so much for doing this. And
no need to thank me. It's because people like yourself, not only because of my fuck up, and I knew I had to change. It was either change or I'm never going to see my kids again. And there's no point in me living if I'm not going to see my kids again. And I want to show my kids that you can change your life around upside down. But it's people like yourselves, every person I've spoke to, every person who's helping me with this journey is got a unique story. But the problem, it keeps coming around everywhere. Every country I've spoken to people, here, where you are, everywhere, same shit. The stigma is disgusting. And the problem I'm getting here, like in my community, for example, I don't care if I'm liked or not. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit anymore, because I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm litter picking today. I'm doing my challenges, blah, blah, blah. And people only want to talk when it's too late, when someone's committed suicide, when someone's ill, when someone's beaten up, when someone's emotionally fucked in the head. I'm sorry that I'm swearing that. It's just, let's not make it get to that far. Like, I'm worried. The reason I want to do this, before I die, we're all going to die. Before I die, I want to make sure that my children and other children out there can feel it's okay to talk. It's okay to talk about your feelings. It's okay to say, wait, that's wrong. It's okay to say, are you okay? It's okay to check on your mate. It's okay to say, excuse me, I think I need to talk, or whatever. If we don't break it now, I don't want to be in my grave worrying about what my children and their children, because if we don't break it now, what's going to happen to our children? It's going to be worse. Yeah. And I don't agree with anyone. Not one person I've had on here has said the stigma ain't that bad anymore. No one said that. But I have had enough. The ones who's not coming on here, the ones who's not talking, the ones who's not commenting, the ones who don't want to believe it, of the ones who are living in cuckoo land thinking, oh, it's okay. Because I said I don't know if you listened to a bit of our live 24-hour, I said to everyone on listening, we had a peak hour, and I said, everyone grab your phones, go on your social media, turn your TV. It's Mental Health Awareness Week, right? Yeah. Tell me one post you've seen. I saw none. Every single person said apart from a safe space between us, we have seen nothing. And I said, exactly. This is Mental Health Awareness Week, but Mental Health Awareness Week should be every week for me. But yeah, don't worry. This ain't going to stop, and I've got plans calculating in my head. So if I ever do come your way, I would. Firstly, I want a free spa session. You didn't even say yes. You didn't even say yes. You just laughed.
You're more than welcome anytime.
you're a hard business lady. You want paying.
Yeah, it's hard. There's always something for nothing, right?
No, let me say. No, definitely, and you should be proud of yourself. You're very inspiring. And the one thing I picked up on the one comment I salute you to more is that you said, I might have not been a drug addict, I might not be an alcoholic, but I realised I wasn't being a great mum because I was being too business minded. And I think you should be very proud of that, to realise that, because not just mums and dads out there who are very, and I respect if you want to be business, respect that. But then we lose touch of that communication with our children. And I've been there where I had a really good job, and I was more engrossed in next targets and KPIs and
Uh-huh.
and all that rubbish. Oh, I've got to get my KPIs, blah blah blah. And then when you smash your KPIs, I want to get to the next target because you get bonus and all that stuff. And
And then they
I
change
used
the KPIs.
oh, don't. But then you want to be. Oh, I'm the top dog now. I've got to stay up there, and I've been there. But then you lose touch of your friendship and relationship with your children, because it ain't just about mum being a dad. It's like when they grow up, you want to have that friendship kind of relationship as well, like where you can tell each other things and talk to each other, and or um, just make memories and stuff. And credit to your son as well, where you just said, nah, he's just like smiling, running about and that, and that made me smile because I'm happy for him. Really happy for him. And if you ever need anything, like there's a chat or anything, you know where I am. So.
The same, absolutely. And then the only other thing I wanted to say is that, to everything that you shared, and when I think about what we're doing wrong as a society, as adults, and I know I was guilty of this before I had a child, and before I had a child with all of this going on, is thinking that children's problems are minuscule. Like, oh, you don't have stress, you're 8. Bullshit. They have stress. Don't belittle that. Listen to your kids. Give them an opportunity to share and be vulnerable, and don't minimize. If they're willing to talk and to share, listen, please, and give them safe space to truly,
Cliche.
to be there. But it's so important. And I've had friends and family where I hear them like, oh, suck it up. It's no, if anybody ever says suck it up to me ever again, I might lose it. But I just stop that. That's the bullshit that we need to get past. We got
to get past that. Because why should you suck it up? It's like I got told, Archie, man up. And that's the worst thing to tell me. And then suck it up. It's because at that time it stops you wanting to talk. It stops you wanting to get support. And then what you're doing there, not you personally, but what we do in there, society, is saying suck it up. There's something wrong with you, basically. So then your head plays games. It's going to do one of two things. You're either going to get worse and not going to speak, or you're going to go and kill yourself. I've heard so many stories. We've got to be truthful with, and that's what happens. And the problem is with a lot of parents and society at the moment, and this is just my honest truth, is two things. Either they had a great upbringing, good on them, and they think, no children thinks like that. And shit. People like us know you do. Mm-hmm. Trust me, we're still living with shit. Or they had it so hard and they're so stubborn where they're saying, well, I'm not going to let it happen to my child. But then just because it's not happening indoors, it doesn't mean it's not happening outside, or you're too over cuddling your kid, or your kid might not like over a protective thing and it's playing with the head, or something's happening at school, or like yesterday, for example, my daughter, autism, she's 10. First time she's done this for a long time. She followed my missus out the side of school, chasing her, crying. Didn't want to go to school. Did not want to go to school. And I sat her down today, this morning. I said, well, what happened? She said, Dad, I don't like school. And I said, really, first time she said that, I went, why? It's the segregation that, because she's got autism, and I don't care what any school says, funding or not, you shouldn't be open if you ain't got the funding, in my eyes. She's sitting on her own doing work because she's got autism. And because other people in the class have got other work, she's not sitting with them, so she feels, am I a loser or am I what? And my blood's boiling over it now. And it's no child, your child, my child, any child. I don't wish my worst enemy what happened to your child or what's happened to mine before, what I've put my child through. So first of all, you clearly are doing a really good job now. For him to be smiling, you've got it sounds like good family around you, so well done on that. Just keep going and don't put work first. The bigger you get, just tell me if the bigger you get, then I know I'm getting a free spa.
Oh, absolutely. You get a free week.
Oh, wow. Don't take and the flight. Yeah,
but thank you again so much for having me and letting me share my story.
I really appreciate it. The last thing I want to say, every guest, I just want to say, so anyone out there who's scared to talk or anything, I want you to see if you can give them a message. Any child, any adult, if they're going through a dark time and they're scared to talk, what would your message be to them?
Don't give up. There's always someone to talk to. Find that person. It doesn't necessarily have to be the people that you think it's supposed to be. It might not be your parent. Maybe it's a teacher. Maybe it is a coworker. Maybe it's me. Maybe anybody on this call or listening. That's what's the pro about social media. You can find people very easily that you can connect with, and it may be someone outside your circle, but please don't ever give up, because all of the bad, horrible things that can happen, so much amazing and good is out there and happening every day, and you don't want to miss that ever.
No, I agree, totally agree. Oh, and I've got one more question. You said you're very good at good instincts. Come on then. What's your instinct of me? So you put you on the spot now. You said you're good at good instinct.
No, I honestly, I could tell that you've been through a lot. I can tell you've been through a lot, and I love what you're doing. And I think you're doing what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
And instead of, I hate that saying, hurt people. No, hurt people heal, and then heal people. And that's what you're doing. And that's amazing. And I applaud you for doing that and for being brave, because it's not easy on either end ever to be that vulnerable, especially with strangers.
No, exactly. And that's why I just feel that the fire in me every time I talk to so-called strangers. It's just amazing. I like to keep in touch. So I will message you regularly. If you get bored of me, just tell me to F off. It's fine.
No, I so appreciate it, and I'm hoping and grateful that I've met someone that has a similar journey and a new friend.
Yeah, thank you so much, and you too. And I will get to America, and I will take that spa week. So don't worry. But thank you so much, Casey. Thank you for everything, and I wish you the best of luck going forward. And I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So, ladies and gents, that was Casey. Yeah, that was a bit. The last 20 minutes was a bit choked me up a little bit, but thank you to Casey for that. I need to regather my moment. Yeah, firstly for the beginning, but also that story. Kind of a lot I could relate to, but also no child should go through what her child's gone through. No child should be spoken to like that. And love or hate me, just imagine Kieran's not here. Please, adults, let's break this stigma and break this poxy silence and support not just adults, but go and support our children. Please support yourself, but support our children. Support not just your child, support others. If we're bringing up our children and showing them that we're breaking the stigma and breaking the silence, no child should be going through that, getting threatened to be dragged off a bus, beaten up, and then getting to get his willy sucked. Threatened to suck his willy. And I don't care about that. I don't care if I lose followers. I don't care. It's just a safe space between us. No judgment. But now I'm really getting passionate and really angry that I respect people who are scared to talk. So you will be able to talk here. trust me. But people who are either being ignorant or uneducated or choosing not to be educated or just being blindsided, who just think it's okay to walk past a kid getting beaten up or it's okay to walk past a kid getting threatened. It's not okay. It's not okay because when it happens to your child, you're going to think, why didn't someone help my child? I've seen it too many times on social media. Someone's got beaten up and a poor lady on her own has stopped in. Where's these men, so-called muscle men? I don't see men stepping in, supporting these children getting picked on the bus or picked on the street. We need to do more. And especially in my community, fix up, look sharp, or you're going to fuck up you're going to fuck up your kids' mental health. You think because I'm cuddly, because my household is lovely, because my household, we don't suffer mental health. It doesn't matter. We all, if you haven't had it yet, you're in a queue. You all suffer anxiety, depression, being scared. You will get the menopause. You might get a health issue. You might get diagnosed with autism. You might get diagnosed with bipolar. You might get diagnosed with something. You're going to get something. So let's not just stick in that queue because we're going to get it. If we separate and join together, break that stigma, break the silence, show our kids it's okay to talk. It's not embarrassing. Because every child at the moment is scared to express their feelings. Totally. And if you really think your child tells you everything, you're in cuckoo land. On that note, it's been a safe space between us. I've been your host, Kieran. Break the stigma, break the silence. Respect to Katie. Much love.